Hey everyone, this is Dave with 15 for Coffee, Business English for anyone out there using English or learning English to get a better job and find more opportunities. Let's get going. If you have never been with us today before, it's your first time, welcome. We are here for people so that you can get better jobs, you can make more money if you speak English or if you're learning English to speak to get a job. So, for example, maybe you live in the Dominican Republic and you work at a call center, but you want to get a better job and maybe another call center, maybe a better company that's based in the US, but they hire remote. So, we're going to talk about how we can get that kind of stuff going on. I was working on something there, gave you a little sneak peek here. 15 for Coffee, Business English for International Superstars. Yes, that's you. I believe you're a superstar because most people aren't doing this. They're kind of, just doing their language thing. But you are taking advantage of this. This is a chart on websites. This is content online. 52% of online content is in English. So you can increase so much of your exposure. This includes social media audiences. This includes scientific data. This includes just being in the know of what's going on in the world more. And most of business is done in English across the globe. So if maybe you live in a company in a country like Mexico, and there's a lot of money coming in, but who's really benefiting from that? Is it the same people benefiting from it, or are you able to get into this and get a little bit of that action? So again, you guys are a really small group of people, I think, and you have this vision. And so what we're trying to do is how much more money we can make. I had a talk with one of my friends yesterday, and he said he's like an engineer, and he make 4 times more. He almost got, it's like a 3.8 times more increase in his salary because he was the one he got the job, and he was the one that spoke English. So I know that's a big concern for a lot of you guys out there, is that if you want to move up the ladder in a corporation, you need English. If you are an entrepreneur or you're a freelancer and you want to sell your product or your service to more people across the globe, English. So that this way it allows you to make more money. It allows you to get more, you have more value, you have more mobility. And so that's what we want to look at, is how can we use English in a way that's going to give us the upward mobility that we're looking for. So cool. I like that. I like this. You know what? I like this video. This was going to be like a trial run, but you know what? I think we're just going to go with this. I think this is good. So I want to remind you guys, again, we're going to talk about something you can use right away on copywriting. I think you already saw it, but that's going to be kind of our topic today. But I want to remind you guys that if you are someone out there who is, still watching this video because you do have a vision, you are ready to take action, you have the dedication to put yourself in a place that's going to take you somewhere you've never been, and most people just aren't going to. So you're an early adopter, and I know that's kind of crazy, but so much has changed in the last 10 years. Everything is online. You have this marketplace, you have remote work is much more acceptable over the last 4 years since COVID. So as Ariel would say, it's a whole new world. And I'm pretty sure mermaids come in all sorts of colors. So remember, these are your biggest powers right here, is empathy, curiosity, and asking great questions, okay? This really separates you from 99% of people out there, because most people are so in their own head, they're not paying attention to the audience, but that's not you. You're going to be really curious about the audience. It's going to allow you to learn more and talk less. Learn more and talk less. Okay? You're here because you have a talent and a skill with language, and we want success. And usually it's to make more money. We just know that we can make so much more money when we're effective with English. And that's why we're going to talk about copywriting. And what's really the difference here, that when you learn your language, you learn it for different reasons, but you don't with business English. We'll touch on this some more, but with business English, it's really cool because there's something you can add to business English that's really simple that most people aren't going to teach you. And that's, what's your game plan? What is your strategy? And the strategy we're going to talk about today is copywriting. That's our strategy. Copywriting, I want to say, like, it's way over here just hanging out by itself. We already saw this. Copywriting is sales in print. That's what we're going to say for copywriting. So by the end of this video, what I want you to be able to have is the ability to write out your source copy. So that's the goal, is so that you can write out your source copy, aka your value proposition, because it's pretty much the same thing. And we want to have this written out. Copywriting is I want to say it's $1 billion industry. Let's ask. How big is the copywriting industry? Let's ask the internet. Global market size for copywriting services is, in the US, it's $42 billion by 2030. It's currently $25.29 billion. Coherent market insight. So that's just the first one I got. I just looked at that. But copywriting is huge. Have you ever seen Mad Men? Mad Men? It was a AMC show in the States about copywriting, copywriters. This is really important for business English because there's a big advantage of this right here. You know the conversation ahead of time. Like when you go out socializing, you don't know what the conversation is going to be. But when you go to work, you know you're going to be having certain conversations. So instead of learning all these phrases and pieces, let's learn English so that we're learning it in order to have the conversation we know we're going to have, right? We know we're going to have the conversation. So let's learn English and practice English to have the conversation. It's really simple. That's what we're going to do. What I'm talking about isn't like some crazy invention. It's just, let's change the way we look at this and apply these principles that you are going to see online on my own ads, the way I write the title, the way I even introduce the video, right? That's all copywriting. It's the experience that you provide that person. So copywriting is sales in print. And this is my definition. It is the words we use to persuade people to take action. So this counts in emails, text messages, social media posting. What we say is copy, especially in business. Again, you know what you're going to be talking about. If you're on the phone, you know what you're going to need to say. And you know that there's going to be objections and there's going to be challenging people to talk to and there's going to be different obstacles that you can face. Let's give you a game plan so that you can accomplish that better than everyone else at your job. And then you are going to get the promotion. You're going to get the supervisor or the senior position. And then we're going to work on your resume and we're going to get you from a local lower paying call center into maybe a more niche call center or a remote job or a data assistant or some other job that's higher quality that fits with your ikigai or what you want to get out of it. So cool. It's Saturday. I'm going to post this on a Saturday. I usually don't do that, but I felt like this was important. Copywriting. It's super important for you to understand this. So I use the word persuade here. We want to persuade people. I'm not trying to convince them or to get them to do something. I just want to persuade them to do something that I also know will help them. That's really important. You need to be clear, and that's why I said empathy, curiosity, and questions. You want to really understand them to make sure as the professional that you can come in and guide them to the right decision. And maybe that decision isn't to hire you, but that's because it's something they don't need. And ultimately you're going to determine that. And if you're doing things right, the people you're talking to already have some type of need. And if they don't, then you're going to have a different beginning to your sales process. So we want to think about our audience, or in copy, we call it an avatar. It's kind of like, who is the one person we're talking to? But for business English, we're going to talk more about who's our audience. Who is the person that we are wanting to persuade? And how are we using the words? What order are we using words? What do we sound like? How do we feel? What's our vibe? And again, you guys know the conversation ahead of time, and we're gonna, let's learn what we're going to use anyway. We know we're going to use this, so let's learn this. And the first thing we're going to learn is the value proposition. Okay. And if you guys haven't gone through the first video, I have a whole video on the value proposition, but this is really your source copy. This is where you want to start, and being able to write this out is really important, because it's once you have it written out and organized, you can just pull from it. And you're not having to think about, oh, how do I say this? Or I wish I said this differently. I wish I could have said this better. This source copy, or your value proposition, allows you to really lay out in very clear words, simple words, who you are, your value, your story, all these different things that come up in conversations. And even just for us to believe in ourselves, right? Believe that when we call the client and we know it's going to be a tough call, that we know that we bring value because of XYZ. I can tell you exactly why I have value, right? And that does something that changes our perspective, and it helps us become leaders, and we are leading and collaborating with the people that we're having the conversation with. So this is your exercise. So again, if you're anyone using English to advance your career, even if you're answering phones or helping people sign up for sports packages on cable or online or whatever, I don't know, whatever you guys are doing. And if you guys are doing something, comment in the, leave a comment, and I'll create a custom value proposition for you. If you can answer a couple questions, I can help you with your value proposition. So here's your homework: value proposition. Who are you? Who do you serve? What is their goal? What is their obstacle? And how do you help them? And what makes you unique? So I'll put this in the notes of the description. The value proposition, I want you to say, who are you? This is as simple as your role and your title, your name. And you can have different titles. You can have like a really complicated one. I want to give you guys a quote. If you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you probably don't understand it well enough yourself. So you want to have different answers. If I'm at a networking event with engineers, I might say something different than if I'm at Christmas with my grandma, or I'm talking to like my little baby cousin or something like that, or my little nephew. So who do you serve? This isn't necessarily who you work for, but it's who benefits from what you do. What goal do they have? What obstacles do they come across? What's your process? How do you help them? And what makes you unique? This is important. We want to include, let me add this. We want to include a couple things I want to share. Well, I can't see anything. Well, that's not what I wanted. I'll put it in the show notes. But this story right here, this is probably the hardest part. This, figure out your story. Like, this is like, when I was a kid, I always was into this. As I grew up, I went to school for this, and then I finally got a job doing this, and I really like it because it reminded me of when I was a kid and how I really liked this. And so I see a big opportunity in this field, and I feel like I'm in the right place at the right time because I want to do this, and in the future, I see myself doing this. And it could be really simple, but this is one of those answers that we always try to answer in the moment, and we're just like, oh my gosh, why couldn't I say this then? This is so you can. This is so when you go through this exercise, your source copy, now you can use this to have the conversation, to answer the question, to maybe even write an email to your audience. Hey, I know we want to achieve this goal, guys, but this is in the way. So why don't we try this? I'm open to any ideas, and I love your guys' feedback, because I love collaboration, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I hope that helps you guys. Copywriting is super powerful. If I ever have kids, I'm definitely teaching them copywriting, because copy is king, queen. Copy is tops. Let's just say that. But good luck out there. If you have any questions, leave a comment. If you haven't subscribed yet, if you got value out of this video, leave a like, and we will talk to you later. Bye.